Hey, it's Monday. It's me and Matt. Snoops is on an airplane. Nah, probably not quite yet. I don't know what his flight is, but he is traveling back. I'm sure if you follow him on the social medias or if you just watched the show and saw him, broadcasting from a hotel room in Vegas, he was out there for the weekend. He'll be back tomorrow. I won't. I'll be doing golf. Where's golf tournament this week? The old
Valero?
appetizer. You know, if you
Yeah.
go look at the if you look at the Scotty Scheffler menu, this is the tortilla soup. God damn, that's actually apt because this
Then
tournament's
what's
in
the
Texas.
then what's the
The,
cheeseburger slider?
yeah, it's a little of both. I suppose the
Is the
Monday
cheeseburger
qual.
slider the par three contest then on Wednesday?
Yeah, maybe I'd
Okay.
say maybe the Monday qualifier, which Wes Bryan got in, but yeah, the tortilla soup, which is cool because yes, it is another Texas event. Patrick says no more match play, please. I enjoyed the match play.
I
It's so hard
it's
to bet.
it's awesome.
It's so and
It's hard to
honestly,
bet, but I love watching it.
I had a really nice Jason Day ticket too, and then I don't, he just ran into a buzzsaw. He was up three through like six holes, and that was
I'd, I'd be
it was
interested to
fun for a
see
little bit.
what it paid out if you just bet underdog money lines in those matches throughout. Like I feel like those would have paid out pretty good, especially pretty early. Like Ricky taking down Rom early. There's some other like I feel like bigger upsets than obviously in group play, so there wasn't elimination right away. But like there's just value on those guys because like you've talked about it too. Like you're not saying you don't have to necessarily beat this guy's score. You just have to beat him on more holes. So you can afford like the blow up holes. They don't matter as much. You just need to make some shots.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that, and in the back of your mind, you put together like a project, like a back testing, and I was going to start look at like high volatility, just pulling scorecards and looking at guys who are, have a more of a clean distribution as far as not having those blow up holes and guys who have a little more volatility, and
Hmm.
then I realized like, oh, they're not having match play anymore. Like, what am I going to do this? Like, look at this for the Ryder Cup, which I guess would be fun. But yeah, it sounds like there may be a match play event added, but next year this will
There
be
better be.
Houston. Yeah,
They have to bring it back.
it'll be Houston, which is currently played in the fall. And yes, hello in Tel Aviv, which
That's far.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm guessing they're about 8 hours ahead. I'm guessing it's about 6:30 uh, on the what is it? The Middle East, right?
Clock.
No, the time. No, I'm just trying to.
Oh
I was
yeah.
trying to think of the generalized region of the world. I had fun though. It was fun. We in one of the one and dones I split with some partners. We had
You're
Sam
right.
Burns.
6:33 in Tel Aviv. Good for you.
Yeah, so we had Sam Burns. So that was. I mean, it was gutty all the way through. I mean, essentially, he had to win his third match as well as you can have that where you go 2-0, and it's still not a foregone conclusion that you are in control of the group. You often will need to win the third match to win that group, and he did. So it was a lot of fun, at least getting him out of group, and then he got the big prize check. It's a pretty big paycheck actually too for this event. So kudos to Burns. Probably somebody to be looking at in 2 weeks. A couple of guys I know a lot of people like Cam Young, like
Yeah,
Jason
Cam
Day.
Young
Some of
played
these
really
guys.
well too.
I know if you added a Cam Young Masters ticket right now, I would not blame you. Which real quick, and we'll talk about this later too. You can see below we have a fun contest, free. It's over at Run Your Pool. We've partnered with them and Paige. We're gonna give away another golf trip. We'll fly you somewhere. We'll pay for your hotel, probably your food, and you go get to play a round of golf with Paige Spronick. So I think it's just gonna be tiers, where they hey here's the top 12 golfers in the Masters. You only get one, pick one, and then they give you the next 12, and you pick six golfers from those tiers. That's it. You can't do it right now. We do have to finalize the field. I'm thinking those tiers will be up next Monday, but it is a contest with limited space. The number's not small. It's not like, hey, you better sign up today or you're getting shut out because only 300 people can enter. But there is limited space, so you will want to get in early just to make sure you don't get shut out. And then obviously they'll remind you next week to, pick your golfers. All you got to do is beat Paige, and you're in drawing to win the grand prize to play some golf with her. So fun stuff. I'll remind you of that as we go through the week. But yeah, not fun stuff was Texas pooping their pants in the second half. I didn't have a chance to watch the second half. I had some obligations, so pretty frustrating to check that score after I had seen the first half. That was very annoying. But I mean, if you like parody, if you like fun, if you like wildness, it was a great Final Four, a great tournament. There's been so much, so much made of, some of these teams are underseeded. And God, I mean, honestly, maybe SDSU is. And I hate that Rothstein also climbed on this bandwagon because I feel like I said it first. Or at least I said it. I don't know if I said it on here, but I did feel bad for San Diego State because their best team they had ever put together. It was like what 30 win team,
It was like
and
2 losses only or something like that the
yeah,
COVID year.
yeah, they were like 30-2 or something, and then straight up just didn't get to have a tournament. Like, man, this
Yeah, they're
was
going to be a 2 seed, I think.
yeah, it was for sure like, hey, you should have a good shot at making a Final Four here. Just straight up didn't get the chance. So kind of a fun, feel good story. I don't ever, I'm not gonna say UConn's a fun story because I never liked UConn. I don't even know where Matt went. I'm not sure if he was listening at all to that point. I think he might have froze up. Well, there he's back. You were
Me
gone on
too.
my monitor. Then yeah,
Yeah, I was
Miami.
gone on mine too.
I like Larinaga, but it's
Is it
again,
just me or does he have like one of the best jobs in the country right now? Like he's coaching Miami.
yeah.
It's still a big program, but it's not one where you're like expected to make these runs. Like you just got to be solid. You have to make the tournament here and there, win a couple games every few years, and you're getting paid to live in Miami and coach in one of the best places in the country, warm weather. It's a perfect retirement job.
And Dan Point, yeah, and he should be retired. He's like 70, man, but he looks like he's having absolute ball. Obviously, the furthest an ACC team made it this year. God, look at the conferences that are left. That's just wild. But no, the ACC is represented in the Final Four. Maybe not the team we thought it would be. I might be interested in that 5.5. Just he's got the team playing well. Like honestly, Texas is playing just as good as anybody. Like that was on Texas. That was on their game plan, their offensive game plan. That second half, Dan made it quite clear, and I actually went back and watched some of that. It was a rough final 10 minutes from the Texas game planning. They probably should have won, but I don't know that UConn should be laying more points than Texas was. They're playing well, but yeah, I'd make that closer to 4. So I'd be tempted to take Miami. If you made me bet this right now, I would probably take Miami and SDSU at this point. I don't know about those totals. I wish I'd have just grabbed an over in the Texas game, I guess, at certain points during that. But again, a little out of commission during the afternoon and no futures left for me. All my brackets are dead. Everything's gone. I guess I'm just betting Frozen 4 next week. So
I did get a Miami future at 11 or either plus 1100 or plus 1200 right before the Elite Eight got going.
There you go.
On that now, got some nice value out there. Obviously, that's now down to plus 490. Don't know what I want to do. I mean, I probably just have to ride it out here against UConn, but I am a little bit nervous with how well UConn's playing. But also, like as we've seen, sometimes not, but sometimes in the tournament, these teams will go have a great weekend like UConn just did. They played pretty much perfect basketball for 2 straight games, but then you get the 6 days off beforehand and can kind of throw you off a little bit, take you a little bit, lose that momentum over 6 days. It's easy to keep it over 1, not as easy to hold it over 6. So I guess that's what I'm kind of holding out hope for here is that that momentum that UConn has going slows down a little bit.
Yeah, you can't hedge. You kind of got to just ride it out.
No.
Point, so whatever, we'll get there. But we will skate on over to the NHL. Look, I did mention the Frozen 4, not the same league, but the same sport. I did pay attention a little because my Gophers. If there is a Gophers team out there,
Dan Quinnipiac is in.
Dan Quinnipiac.
Dan's squad is in.
They have a big test. If they want to take home a big trophy, they're going to have to beat Michigan and then probably Minnesota. That's a big ask. They were plus 380, I think, in the futures, about the same price as Boston. Boston had a nice little run out of their region. Got draws Minnesota in the semis, which is, again, a very tough task. I will never not cheer for Dan's Bobcats of QU. I mentioned this to him this morning, but a Minnesota-Michigan rematch after what we saw.
That would be a pretty awesome game.
It would be a pretty good game. So I would love to see Minnesota-Michigan again in the final. And I believe that it's offset slightly. So during the weekend, you'll have the Masters. You'll have You'll have the Frozen Four as well, right after having the national championship game on Monday. So, and obviously baseball is fired up at that point. So, pretty solid elite. 10, 15 days of sports right here, and then right after that, I mean, we're essentially on to the NHL and
Yeah.
NBA playoffs. So, how many
Have you
games
been
do
to
they
a
have
Frozen
left in
Four
the
before?
NHL?
You been to a
No,
Frozen
have
Four
not.
before?
No,
It's
I thought about it, but Fargo's not only a long drive, it's a horrible drive to get to North Dakota because the region, sometimes the region is obviously closer, but I think
Mhm.
someday I will.
It's they had one in the United. They had it in the United. I mean, they do it in the United Center every so many years, and I think Notre Dame was in it. My brother's a Notre Dame grad, so we went a couple years ago. It's a lot of fun. It's a fun time.
Yeah.
Would highly recommend it, even if your team gets absolutely shelled. But I do have some NHL bets too with the professionals tonight. One game, it's a smaller slate. I think like 5, 6 games tonight, and I really hated a lot of the value on the board. The Avalanche -1.5 is about the best value I could find. Andy, there's about 9, 10 games left in the NHL season, depending
Sure.
on who you're looking at. Colorado is kind of spent all year. Not so much. I don't want to quite call it a Stanley Cup hangover, but they've been hurt as well. They're kind of just going through the year on cruise control, starting to pick things back up, and they're only a point out of the lead in the Central Division. And I think this is about a time where they'll probably start ramping things up and try and go win that division. Now it's probably more in reach than it has been in a little while. They're only, I think, a point behind your Wild, and then they're tied with the Stars. Your Wild playing very good hockey as of late, Andy. So congratulations to you as well. But I like them minus the 1.5 tonight against the Ducks. Colorado's won 4 out of 5. Anaheim's one of these bad teams tanking for Connor Bedard. I think this is a just rolling spot for Colorado. I think they go out and win pretty easily, and they're going to keep getting themselves ramping up into playoff form. And then Connor McDavid, this is on FanDuel. He is at 60 goals right now. For him to score 70 plus, he's got 9 games left. So we need 10 goals in 9 games. Looking at the schedule, as I have it up here now, they play the Ducks twice, the Coyotes and the Sharks twice. They do play the Kings twice, and Connor McDavid hasn't been great against them this year. He's got a goal in 2 games, I believe it is. But he's got 5 games against 3 teams tanking. And I want to pull up his numbers here so I get it exactly right. But he's dominated those 3 teams pretty well. He's got 4 goals in 2 games against the Coyotes. He's got 2 goals in 2 games against the Ducks. He's got 2 goals in 2 games against the Sharks. He's going to have a chance here to pile on some bad teams in half of his games left. And I think at plus 450 for him to have a couple multi-goal games and just get himself 10 goals in 9 games. If it's doable for anybody, it's doable for Connor McDavid. And if he gets rolling here, I think that 70 goal mark is certainly going to be something he's going to actively try and go get to, because why wouldn't he want that? So plus 450 for him to score 10 goals in 9 games, 5 of those games coming against tanking teams. I really like the odds there. I think that's worth a roll of the dice.
I like it. I have no idea. I like props like that.
Yeah,
I do like.
and you might not know hockey, but you know Connor McDavid's really, really good, and you know he's playing really, really bad teams.
I do like betting the award markets once in a while in hockey. I do have to go do some checks now that we're at the last 10 days. Like, I think I mentioned this earlier too. I have some hockey futures. All of it is stat-based stuff, including a real bad one on a goalie that I think who was the Vancouver goalie at the beginning of the year?
Oh, Thatcher Demko. He's been terrible.
Yeah, it was like a GAA below a certain percentage, and I'm like, I don't think he can get below this percentage because they're not playing him anymore. I think he just got kicked out of the league.
He's just not really their guy anymore. I did hit an Austin Matthews future last year, an MVP future. I think when he was like the 5th or 6th favorite around midseason, then he just absolutely turned it on. That's my favorite hockey future I've hit.
Don't care for the mustache. Won't be betting on him, but I'll take the and also I don't have FanDuel up here, but I will take a peek at that other one. I need some action today. I don't have a whole lot going on. Golf doesn't start till Thursday. Obviously a little spoiled last week with having an early start with a lot of match play going on. But Valero Texas Open does happen down TPC whatever. TPC San Antonio, something along those lines. That's gonna bother me now that I don't actually know the answer to that. There's like two damn. It is TBC San Antonio.
I think you're right.
Yeah, the Oaks course. I was feeling like I was mixing up the Texas courses for a bit there. Hideki Matsuyama is in this field. He is on our graphic. He has not pulled out yet, but I don't know if I'd expect him to. He did pull out a match play. He was in a spot too where he wasn't likely, it wasn't going to advance. But he did pull out with his neck injury last week. So I wonder if he does play in Texas or just heads over to Georgia to get ready for, a place where he's actually won the tournament not too far in the past. Hatton is your favorite, and he's another guy who got hurt during the tournament. He twinged something. Is that a word in his hand?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. He looked pretty rough at times. He said it was giving him problems. I don't know if that's a spot where he's likely to play this week. You might end up with Corey Connors. Yeah, and as Abnormally Distributed is pointing out, I'm monitoring Yahoo Japan. That has happened with Hideki in the past, where you get these reports on his injuries. It's not really widely reported outside of some of these news sources across the Pacific. So keep an eye on that. I think he actually pulls out. Somebody I like here is Siwoo. I'm gonna shop around, see if I can get a slightly better price. I think you could probably find maybe a 24 if you poke around. 21's on the board right now at FanDuel. I like him quite a bit. I did run an initial model over at BetSports Golf. I'm kind of tweaking that. Obviously, Hideki, just based on form and what he does well, grades out well in that model. That's not somebody I'm actually going to bet because of the insistence on having this neck injury. Brendan Todd came out a little higher for me as well. He's not on the graphic. He should be 40, 50, maybe a little better to one. I'm going to be looking at. Let's see who else is near the high. Matt Kuchar, Ben Griffin. Ben Griffin's probably somebody I'm looking at. Hatton's avoid because of the price and the injury. And then Ricky Fowler.
I was going to say, how do we feel about Ricky?
Not somebody I'm going to bet on at 20 to 1.
Yeah.
I think some people are going to be a little too excited about that just based on he needs to win this to get in. So there's 20 different ways to get into the Masters. I don't want to say this probably is the most infrequent because they can just say, hey, here's an international player that we think deserves some recognition and he's not in based on all the OWGR or winning an event, but we're going to let him come play. Like the Masters is run by the Masters. They do whatever the hell they want. They just say, hey, international player that we think is on the right track, come play here. You don't have to meet any of the criteria. That is used every year. Something else is winning an event. So maybe, yeah, I was going to say that's rare. It's not rare. A lot of people are here because they won an event over the last year, but it is rare for someone to win the final event and sneak in because there's players in the field that are in the Masters already. And if they win or if they're already, it's just such is life. But it has happened, and Mr. Corey Connors was able to sneak in under the wire as it was. If you are not in the Masters field, and you're at the top of the leaderboard Sunday, suddenly, your next weekend is going to look a lot differently as you'll be heading down to Augusta. So I cheer for that sort of shit every year, just because that's way more fun than just watching somebody well-known win it. Even though, like I said, I will be betting on Siwoo, so be cheering for some of the younger ones. Maybe like I think Cootie. I call him Cootie, even though it's Cody with two O's. Maybe a cheer for somebody like that to get a nice win here. I'll cheer for some of the young guns. And it is not a bad week to take some long shots. I'll have my plays up later in the week and tomorrow when I talk to Mr. Noonan.
I got to tune into that show this week. Got to tune into it every week, but I really want to watch it this week because, like you said, this is one where there might be some like a Ricky spot. Obviously, you're not thinking about betting Ricky at 20 to 1 this week, but finding out those, hey, this guy wins, this guy's playing for such and such, this guy needs this type of finish to get into Augusta this week. It's nice to know those tidbits before you start betting this tournament, especially.
Yeah. So it's a good week for a long shot. I'll be trolling further down the board this week for sure. So, and then baseball starts on Thursday.
Opening day this week. We're back. It's going to be 30 degrees probably in Minnesota, but I don't know if they're playing baseball in Minnesota on Thursday, but that's my favorite part about the early games here is the insistence on trying to play such early, like getting early and earlier games in these cold weather cities. But then also it means we get the 1 o'clock first pitch on a Tuesday because we need to beat some weather or it's going to be warmer at 1 o'clock than it will be at 7 o'clock at night. But it just gives us day baseball to bet on. We're a big day baseball betting podcast.
Yeah. And the Twins home opener isn't till Thursday the 6th.
Okay.
Masters Thursday, because I think they don't mind starting hey, let's go play in Miami for the first week, or
Yeah.
Kansas. I think it's Kansas City and Miami. Hopefully they've,
Kansas City's
but
not
it's
great either.
I know, and it's not like April 6th is that far into spring, guys. I've had pretty big snowstorms up this way in May, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, baseball, regardless, even if there's some snow out, some cold out, some ice outs, it will start at some point, and probably this Thursday. So, got a couple last minute futures for us.
I do. I've had I've had a decent amount of futures on the show leading up to this, and I was going on DraftKings looking to get creative, and they have some more like fun. Not wouldn't say fun, but just more options. And these are team win total parlays, I think is the category it's called, but that's exactly what they are. Um, we're going with a couple parlays of two teams to win 90 plus games. We're going to start with the Braves and the Padres. Dan and I talked a little bit about the Braves whenever the show was a Thursday of last week, whenever it was we did the show together. I think it was Thursday. Um, I like the Braves to win 90 plus games because I think they can very well win that division. They probably should. They're the favorites as of right now. They're getting healthy. Ronald Acuna is healthy, and he's going to be playing for them all year, hopefully. And if you look at that division, the Phillies just suffered another big injury. They're going to be without Bryce Harper for a while. They're going to be without Reese Hoskins for a while. The bullpen has a lot of question marks, and as fun as their run was last year, like they got hot at the right time. If they start out slow with a depleted lineup that's very, very top heavy, you could see them take a step back. The Mets are still going to be a very good baseball team. I know they lost Edwin Diaz, but they're going to be right there competing in that division as well. But you look at the rest of that division, the Nationals are going to be terrible. The Marlins aren't going to be very good either. So 90 wins for the Braves, that's still pretty much ensuring that they're going to be finishing in the top two in that division, which I very much see happening. And I still think they probably win it. So 90 plus wins for them, I like. And then the Padres, same thing. They got a whole lot better this offseason. If you look at that division, the Rockies are going to be bad. The Giants are going to take a step back. The Diamondbacks aren't going to be very good. It's going to come down to the Padres and the Dodgers. And if you look at the Padres, they kind of got past Big Brother last year in the playoffs with the Dodgers. Now, I still think the Dodgers are going to be the best team in that division and win it. But I think the Padres will be a team that challenges for that. And I think you see them win 95, 96, 97 games. And then go ahead, Andy. You seem like you're going to talk.
Well, and my first thought is, hey, there's negative correlation to these because these teams will play each other and they can't both win those games, so that's automatically a couple lot. But the Yankees and Mets played two game series all year. So just 4 games, and Braves and Padres actually don't play each other all that much either. Just 6 games between them. From my quick internet
like there's
right
one that I love.
So that the negative correlation is fairly low in this, and like you said, when the divisions are a little softer too, especially in like the Mets and
Yeah.
Well, and when you're placing them both, obviously you have the Mets and the Braves. Those aren't in the same parlay, but the rest of that division's gonna be
it's going to be bad. And I think the Mets and the Braves are going to be two teams that I don't want to say cruise 90 wins, but they're both, I think, going to comfortably hit that 90 win mark. And yeah, like I was looking at one of the ones they had on there was, I think it was the Guardians, the Twins, and somebody else to have 80 plus. And while I think the Guardians and the Twins both have 80 plus, they also play each other 19 times. And that's not something you want to get too involved with just in case one team has someone's number or whatever's going to go on there. But yeah, then the Mets similar explanation to the Braves. I think they're a really good baseball team. I think they're going to be right there with Atlanta to win that NL East division. Then you look at the rest of it, it's not going to be very good, especially if Phillies as banged up as they are, and they get off to a slow start. And then the Yankees, I know 90 is a lot in that division. It is a good division, but I think the Yankees also got a whole lot better this offseason, adding Carlos Rodon. You now look at their 1, 2, 3 with Cole, Rodon, Cortez. Like that's as good as just about anybody in baseball right now. And I think they're going to be the best team in that division. I think they're going to win a lot of baseball games. I think Boston's going to take a step back this year. As much as we like your Baltimore Orioles, Andy, I still think they need to do a little bit of growing. And Toronto and the Rays are going to be good baseball teams, but I don't think they're better than the New York Yankees. And I think the Yankees done a great job improving. So 90 plus wins for them, I also don't think is too big of an ask. So we're going to take those two parlays. Braves and Padres, 90 plus wins. Mets and Yankees, 90 plus wins.
I dig it. All right, I'm excited. I'm excited for baseball. I don't even watch that much baseball, but I do, and it's true. I'm not like a huge Twins fan anymore, but
I feel like of all the pro teams, no, I guess you like the Timberwolves, but I feel like
it's just because my daughter does. Like
I feel like you kind of like the Twins.
I do kind of like. Yeah. I will say, and I will make this proclamation right now because we have not touched on this yet.
Okay.
And I know it's a long shot, And there is some weirdness to how this will work based on the contract and the timing, but Lamar Jackson just being just a petty ass
I love
about
it. I love it.
releasing this tweet and just punking Harbaugh was pretty funny. And also, I love him. I loved the MVP season. I loved seeing him at the height of his powers when he had that MVP season, when the team was that offense was sculpted around him and it really played to his strengths. If he were to sign with the Minnesota Vikings, I will get up off I only like the teams that I bet on bandwagon, and
And you'll be a Vikings fan?
I will become a Vikings fan if they
Wow.
sign Lamar Jackson. I'll be back. I'll be 100%. I'll be the guy who's dying when they lose. I'll be the guy who's just unrealistic about their chances to win everything.
I love it.
I'll be full in on being a fan if
Well, as
Lamar
much as I
ends up
don't want to
in
see Lamar
Minnesota.
Jackson in the Bears division, I kind of want to see you have to be a fan. So I'm kind of torn
Just
here.
yeah, bring the pain back is kind of where I'm at on that. So I'm saying it's happening right now. So and that's Monday, guys. Hit a thumbs up on the way out. Check out the show notes on the YouTube or the podcast if you want to get entered in that free page contest. Win a round of golf with Paige Sporonic. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, guys. See you tomorrow.